Hey, this is David Gabriel Goldenberg from 011 Ads for Brands, and I want to answer a very basic question today, and that is, why should I invest in sponsored brand advertising? If you're selling on Amazon, why should this kind of advertising be worth your time and your budget? Let's look at a few very good reasons. First of all, the targeting is search keyword based primarily, meaning you target the keywords that people search to find your kind of products. So when people are looking for your products, that's when you're reaching. That is a lot easier to get a sale, right? It's bottom of the funnel. They're already in the market and you just show up when they're at the cash register, basically ready to purchase, right? As opposed to, for example, interruption advertising, whether you're going to put money into TV ads, you're going to go on the radio, any kind of display advertising, Facebook, social media. All of those can generate sales, but it's a lot harder. First of all, because you have to interrupt the person successfully. You have to get their attention in the first place. You have to have a sufficiently persuasive and engaging ad that is not going to just retain their attention. It's going to generate interest and desire. Your offer has to be good enough, so in many cases also you'll need to be involved in discounting and so forth, right? Reducing your margins. And, getting the action after all that still might not work if you're advertising on these other channels, because they're not as closely integrated with Amazon as Amazon's own advertising obviously is. And all the more so if you're trying to drive that traffic to a website off Amazon. So in comparison to other channels, it's a lot easier to get the sale because people are in the market and the conversion rates are a lot higher. If your product listing is good, you should usually be getting at least 10% conversion rate, right? If for any product that's, let's say, under $50, between $50 and $100, if you're getting maybe 8%, that's, pretty reasonable. Try getting 8% on your branded terms on traffic off Amazon. Good luck. That would be really remarkable. Second point is there's an incredibly high revenue potential, right? So it's usually between 40 and 80% of what you can make with sponsored products. And sometimes it's even higher. We've seen it as much as 100% or even greater. And there's a lot of reasons that I want to get into shortly, but suffice it to say, if, for example, you're making $100,000 a month in sales from your sponsored product advertising on Amazon, you could probably make between another $40,000 and $80,000 incremental above the sponsored product revenue if you're advertising on sponsored brands, right? So if you're not already doing it, you're missing out on adding 40 to 80% to your top line sales. That's pretty big win. Third point is, this is search traffic, and Amazon's own search traffic helps you rank in Amazon organic rankings, right? There are people who try to manipulate this with things like search, find, buy and all that, but why resort to gimmicks when Amazon themselves provide you a perfectly good and profitable way to basically buy your way higher into the rankings, right? So if you can prove that you are going to convert at a high rate on, let's say, shower curtain or salty chips or soda, right, you end up ranking. But in order to prove that, you need to get search traffic. Well, that's exactly what you're getting with sponsored brands. Third thing is that unlike sponsored products, sponsored brands give you control over your creative, right, over your ad message. So if you're using the headline, also known as text, version of the sponsored brands, so you have, as the name suggests, a line of copy that you can write. And you can also take people to your store and you can do additional things with the creative there. Likewise, if you're doing sponsored brand videos, so you've got up to 45 seconds to make your pitch. And in our experience, what this allows you to do is, first of all, achieve higher conversion rates, right? We've seen conversion rates as high as 1/3 above what you're getting with sponsored products. So if you're getting, let's say, a 9% conversion rate on sponsored products, you could be getting 12% potentially with sponsored brands. And that means also that your ACoS can end up being lower. And something else that people don't appreciate, which is really remarkable, is the ability to compete on keywords that are not core to your product, right? We did this successfully for one of our main clients, and it generates literally tens of thousands of dollars a month, where we looked at a keyword that was not core to them, but it was, if you will, adjacent. The previously top ranking products had some features in common with our clients' products, and we did market research to understand why people were buying these competing products, and we saw that our products also offer those same benefits. And by touting those benefits in the headline, we were really able to get loads and loads of sales. And we also saw an organic benefit because, in fact, that product ended up ranking on the first page as a result. Well, that's exactly the fifth point that I was just about to get to. You can get sales from outside your core market, right? So suppose that you sell pita thins, okay? So this is kind of, pita is a Middle Eastern bread, and pita thins is where you kind of toast it and you spice it, so it's sort of like a chip, but it's not fried in oil, so it can be healthier in that way, right? So obviously you can market this on keywords like pita thins and pita crisps and whatever, but you could also get in there for healthy snacks, and you could also get in there for healthy crackers, for example, right? If you understand what the keywords are, and even moving a little bit beyond that, if you're a bit creative with what kind of keywords would be relevant, you figure out where your products really offer the benefits people are looking for when they search for those keywords. Now, the question is, why would you do all of this with us, right? So we have a track record of success. Just one case study, we helped increase the seller's sponsored brand revenue year over year from $201,000 a year to over $600,000 a year, right? 3 times the revenue. I've talked a bit about this elsewhere, where in the first 6 months we got it from $200,000 to $524,000, and then it went even higher. We've generated over $2 million from store spotlights, and I've documented that in another case study and taught people how to do this kind of advertising. Okay, there's just, thank God, a wealth of experience on our team. And again, I talk about what we're doing. Obviously, in the first place, all blessing comes from God, and our job is to receive that. Being that is a business presentation, so I'm talking about our own efforts. So track record, proven history of success is one thing. Another one is, as a result of doing all this work, specifically in sponsored brands, we've come up with a lot of new techniques and tools that are proprietary, right? We just use them in-house for the time being. And for example, segmentation and personalization tools, so that your ads get higher click-through rates and higher conversion rates because you're speaking to each audience in a language that appeals to them. Charts looking at the trends to understand, hey, I made, let's say, $200,000 this month from sponsored brands. What keywords did that come from? So that if I have 200,000 the next month, I might be able to see, oh, well, we lost 50 here and we gained 50 there, so we broke even. The question is, if I want to get to 250, right, how do I get back that 50 that was lost? Well, we can identify that using our tools. Many other tools and techniques like that. In terms of communication, a very big question is, how is my agency going to communicate with me? And a few things that characterize our communication is being proactive, right? So we produce weekly reports, and if there's a problem, we take the initiative to bring it up with you, as opposed to waiting to hear from you. And we also just care a lot, right? And that takes expression in, for example, recommendations that go beyond the scope of our work. So for instance, we've suggested a new product ideas to customers of ours based on our work that showed there's demand for this or that, and it would be, adjacent to the customer's existing product line. They could extend in those ways. Or we've shown that certain products are about to sell out in the next few days or few weeks, and the advertising could even be turned off, which is not in our interest because we are partly paid on performance, but in order to save the customer on some of their advertising spend. And just taking ownership, really caring, showing people even ways that they can improve sponsored products or sponsored display, even though we're on accounts, we're just getting paid on sponsored brands, right? That's 99% of what we do. And our reports are very different from 99% of agencies' reports, because we don't just show you the data, oh, here's how much you made, here's how many clicks you got, right? We show you what it means. What is the trend? Why did that trend happen, right? Is this good? Is this bad? What do we do differently based on this information? Right? We don't just say, here's the information, go sort it out, talk to you next week. Now, we share the data, right? For example, if the click-through rate went up, why did it go up? What can we learn from that? How can we do more, right? If the conversion rate went up, what can we learn from that? How can we do more of that? If it went down, why did it go down? What did we test? What went wrong? How do we fix it? Another thing that you'll see a lot with both tool providers and agencies that tout themselves as being Amazon ad agencies is that sponsored brands for them is an afterthought. Oh yeah, we'll manage your sponsored products, and we also do sponsored brands too if you want. Yeah, no problem. Our AI or our machine learning, whatever, can do that. We've seen agencies, we've seen tools, if they are not specialized in sponsored brands, typically they're doing an inferior job. I'm saying this based on having taken over accounts that were previously managed by other agencies and tools, and even those that are VC backed and have all this fancy technology behind them. This is our bread and butter. It's 99% of what we do. If you want the best work in sponsored brands, get somebody who just focuses on sponsored brands. And then the question is, why invest in sponsored brands right now, right? Why not start this next quarter or in 6 months or even next year? Who cares, right? Well, beside for already the huge potential that I've shared, that you can increase your sales maybe 40 to 80% compared to what you're making from sponsored products. It's just a huge gold mine out there because, first of all, there's very little good information about sponsored brands out there. There isn't a book, there isn't a good course written, right? Again, it's an afterthought in most cases to sponsored products. It might be mentioned here, mentioned there, an article, but it's not people's focus. And so there's a lack of knowledge, there's a lack of education, there's a lack of defined public best practices. We have lots of those here in-house. I'm trying with this YouTube channel to teach more. But the point is, people do this really badly. And also, in most cases, they're hardly doing it, right? Some, especially new sellers, don't have enough products in order to do it, right? You need at least 3 for headlines. And also you need video creative, which not everybody has. But even those that do, don't necessarily understand how do you write a persuasive headline, a headline that gets a lot of clicks, right? How do you structure your campaigns so that you maximize the metrics that you care about, the average order value, the conversion rate, and so on. So there's a big market and very little competition, and what competition there is mostly quite weak. Second of all, right, don't let the competitors build the lead. Amazon's ad algorithms favor the current winner, right? And there's good reason for that, because if they take a risk on an unproven ad, right, they might make less money from that ad. So they want to give most of the impressions to the existing advertisers that have proven that they can at least make X dollars baseline for Amazon, right? Why take a chance on the newbie? So they do a little bit, but there's a built-in edge for whoever is winning. And so it takes time to overcome that, to figure out how to beat them and so forth. It takes testing. And if you delay coming in, then your competitors get even more entrenched, right? Because they're testing in the meantime, they're learning, right? And that just ends up costing you more. We've seen older campaigns get a lot lower click-through rates than what new campaigns are able to get, even within one account. So there's a lot of value to starting today, and you can optimize tomorrow, and also not letting your competition either build a lead or extend an existing lead if you haven't started on sponsored brands yet. And thirdly, related to the second point, it takes time. You have to try things. Most campaigns don't work out right away, right? You have to see what does well, try to optimize based on that, analyze the reasons for good and bad performance, and try to derive the lessons from that so that your second round is more profitable. And the faster you can go through the cycle, right, the more you can be successful. But if you don't start, you won't even go through the cycle once. So the sooner you start pedaling, and that's eventually how you can build up speed and really build a huge optimization machine for your ads that can make you extremely successful. So the sooner you start, the sooner you can get moving and build momentum, and then you can build the lead over your competition. Okay? So if you want more sales, if you want better ROI, right, better ROAS, better ACOS, okay, speak to us. You want an agency that cares really sincerely about your account, that communicates well and gives you insight, not just information, right? Speak to us. We're the Sponsored Brand Experts. My name is David Gabriel Goldenberg. We're 011 Ads for Brands. You can subscribe to the channel for more tips and information, and I look forward to hearing you and how we can help you with your sponsored brand advertising. Take care.